I think it was sort of breaking on my end. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, I beg your counsel. I think
Yes?
we have lost. Yes, repeat. I think it's not so vivid on my side. Yeah.
I am present.
Yeah, I didn't hear what you said.
Oh, I
Yes,
said,
yes,
can you
please.
hear me now?
Yeah, I can.
So I was saying that we need to first of all embrace our Africanness, okay? Accept who we are, be proud of our stories, then we can freely express them in our various forms, in our writing, in our poetry, in all the different forms of art. The best thing is for us to first embrace our Africanness and be proud of our stories and be happy to tell them.
Yeah. Yes, I think we should honor our stories. Like you saw Cairo Karega here, he came and performed in Kiswahili. And I'll be like, yeah, how many of us here really know Kiswahili? But because he's really proud of the language itself, he had to perform in that line. Yes, so let me go to Mr. Taban El Tablas. Yes.
Thank you. I think about readership, we need to pick a leaf from other creatives, pick a leaf from the musicians, pick a leaf from the filmmakers. Where I don't know if we went by here or Netflix made is that most of us would earlier on not pay attention to the African movies. So what was missing in those movies? What was missing in the African music that the musicians and the filmmakers have turned around to attract our attention that we should listen to their music, we should watch their films. So as writers, we should also go the same way. What is it interesting to our readers that we should write, basing on that, write something that the readers would want to read? Why would one want to read Charles Dickens? I heard Jerry mention Charles Dickens and Shakespeare and all the European or American writers that are all over in our bookshops and libraries, and not African writers' books or Ugandan writers' books. So what is it is that is so captivating, attracting in those texts that people will go for them, readers will go for them, and not our Ugandan or African books. So as you set out to write, you need to write something that is going to be relevant to your readers. You need to write in a style that your readers are going to be attracted to. Um, of course, we know how straight our narrations are most of the time. We love straight narrations, and probably some readers find it boring to delve into a book that has straight narrations. So if someone needs a book that is full of description, quite a number of symbolism and imagery, then as a writer, can you go that way? Write something that is going to attract your readers. Personally, as I write, I write to satisfy myself because I feel I need to write, document something, put my story out there. Whether the readers take it on or not, that is a spice for me. Just like it is in the world, life is life. Um, the other luxuries of life are just spices of it. So let's write. If we need more readership, let's write to attract the readers and look out for what the reader actually needs out in the market. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Taban El Tablas. You're right. Actually, most people, I realize that most of the people really just write for the sake of writing. They really don't write to attract. And that's why you find that most of the people really, I can tell you that most people, if you give someone a book of a white man with that of an African man, most of the people would really go for the books of a white man. Yes. So let me maybe first hear from Richard. I'm finding it hard to pronounce that name. Sorry.
Thank you, Agatha. It is Mbuthia. Mbuthia.
Yeah. Sorry, yes.
Yeah, no problem, no problem. Now, I think even as we invest in writing very good or whatever stories and books, we should also invest in the people who are going to be reading. Like, for example, the students. I'll just give my own example of how I try to do that. The students that I teach, I try to invest in them that, hey, you know, if you don't read, then you are very short-sighted. And you only think, you can never think beyond your nose. That's what I usually tell them. And I show them by example. There's someone who said that a person who writes more than he reads, then he writes very shallow writing. You should write less than you read. You should read, in fact, you should read more than you write. For example, if you want to write, want to write two books, then read more than 10 books on what you want to write about. So the students that I teach, I've done like 4 books with them. I encourage them to write, and the books that we have produced, I produced 5 books. One of them is my own collection, and the other 4 books I've done with them, encouraging them to write poetry, and they have astounded themselves by seeing that, hey, before they started out in writing, they never knew that they could write. But at the end of it all, they've written things that are from their hearts, and they amaze themselves. They say, "I never knew, or we never knew that we could write." And this is something that they have taken up even as they go to higher levels. I teach primary school, so when they go to secondary school, they take it up there. They organize writing clubs. Some of them write books nowadays, and they organize poetry gigs and all that. What has brought all that is there's someone who saw the interest, or there's someone who sparked in them the interest in loving the written word. You see, the 26 letters of the alphabet are not just letters; they are magical things. So if we take them as magical things, and that can be tweaked at will, then they are going to produce magic. So I'll agree with the other panelists that it's important to invest in writing, but we should also look at the people who are going to read. You see, the young people that we have are the people who are going to be reading. Even as when we fade from the scene, they are the people who are going to pass on the knowledge that we have invested in them. So if we invest in them well, then we'll have grounded the reading culture and the writing culture, because writing comes from reading. It is not the other way around. It's not reading from writing. So I think we invest in the people who are going to be reading, we invest in ourselves, and then we go forth. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Richard, for that deep insight. We should read more than we write. Yes, and I think also me personally, I started as a reader. I think I used to read a lot, then I got the inspiration to write. Yeah. Our youngest writer, one of the youngest writers that we have in the African continent, in Uganda, one of the youngest publishers, Adan Tusimuke. Maybe kindly share your view with us. Yes, thank you. Dan, can kindly unmute.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, you're audible. You are.
Can you? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, you're audible. You are
Oh yes,
audible.
yes. PS. Before I really start off my my thing, I've really been not been able to reach you through your DM. As you know, Paula never really had the maybe share screen and have the really people get into that. Is that really fine?
Oh, thank you. I'll see what to do. Thank you. Thank you for letting me know.
All right then. First to you this question, I want to have say, but having it all and maybe what we could do about it, having the audio visual and maybe having it all along and having to come underway, this is no, all right. Yeah, because it's the same as the system. Uh, we, others really believe because several hardships and as along the history, this colonialism and all along in a while. So, uh, so our imagination can really be ignited when we animate the stories that we read in the minds. So it's definitely a healthy exercise to the mind to keep breaking in and therefore this is one thing that I really strongly urge, and if we're really to cultivate the habit of reading and derive the maximum benefit from it. And so back to you, Agatha. But
Thank you, Dan Kabasa. Yes, so there's been actually I remember one time I was arguing with some of my friends that really a writer is actually not what the reader. I'm seeing someone is raising his hand. Yes, Nicholas, you have something to say? Yes. Maybe before you continue, you could unmute and speak. Yes.
Hello, can you hear me? Are you here? I would like to ask the question to the panelists. Uh, Being a medical student, we are taught how to change health patterns amongst the population. And we are taught the theory of planned behavior. And I think that is the theory you would probably use to change the reading
these as no prolific writers, uh, those who either would like to this particular inquiry goes to Immaculate Akulu, is with us. Immaculate Akulu, I would like to from you exactly you write what you write. I am hoping my co-panelists and my yes, you are, sure.
All right. For me, writing, I started writing before I could publish as a way of, it was a kind of hobby for me. And then it was also a form of therapy. But then along the way, I started writing on social media. I would put my thoughts down just for fun. But I realized that the things I was making fun out of were actually things that are affecting people. As you know, yes, I get to get to the root of the root of the cause of all these things that I interface with in my work. So my writing is basically a response to the needs I see around me. In the articles I've published before, and now in the book I've written and published so far, and the ones that are coming, it is really a response to the needs I see around me, which I don't see books written about. Like, for example, there is a pressure in our society for women, especially, to be married by a certain age. Now, I've been handling divorce cases where someone will come and tell you after 3 months of marriage that they want a divorce. And then you ask them, why do you want a divorce? And at the root of it all, they got into marriage because of pressure. So my book, Captain Again, is a response to that, telling people, please do not succumb to pressure. There's another one about I write them in forms of novels or novellas, so to say, because they're not so big, but it's really a response to the needs that I see around me.
Okay, that is interesting. I was going to ask, actually, my very next query was to chip in on whether you think that these particular topics have been tackled before, but also the topics you handle, or the viewpoints you handle are those that have been less less traveled by most. I would like to go to Kakwenza. I hope Kakwenza is with us. Kakwenza, if you're with us, you can say hello. There is no CMI here. Is Kakwenza with us? I think I've lost the greedy barbarian.
It's not.
Oh, okay. I think I've lost the greedy. Oh, okay. I think I've lost the greedy barbarian. Then I would like the same answered. The same question answered by Nasur Taban El Tablaz. He's going to crucify me for making that error. But Nasur Taban El Tablaz, you could pretty much answer the very same question. Why do you write what you write?
Yes, Obed Kokowoth, is that right?
That is wrong. So now we are even.
That's even, right? Okay. I've had an eventful life, and that inspires me to write. I have school in year one. I promised my father, who always wanted me to be an engineer, that I would still be an engineer, but an engineer of words, and that is exactly what I am doing. So I write literally about everything around us. You've read my poems, you've read my short stories, you've read my letters to our politicians. I've had someone ask that we should try to bring on board our politicians to be authors. I don't know how you're going to encourage politicians to be authors who will print out their books and then buy them themselves so that you don't access them anymore because their ideologies have changed. They can't face the ghosts of their writing. I don't think that is possible. Writing can't be forced onto someone. Um, I didn't really have that strong education background for me to tell you I began writing or reading so early. I began writing late. I've written quite a number of academic books, and my interaction with learners, my interaction with students has set me to help motivate and change humanity. I've talked to Agatha before. I hope she's okay with me sharing this. I've told her before that if we're going to have people read, I think I've told you this a bit too, that if you're going to help people read, if you're going to increase readership, you have to start with your friends. Those people you call have to ask whether they have actually internalized what they liked on your social media handle. Most of them will tell you they simply liked, probably because of the photo you attached. So yes, I write to motivate myself. I write that his son is an engineer, but an engineer of words. That will be it for now.
Okay, quite interesting. Quite interesting.